Oh, fantastic. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Common Council's Caucus. Apologies for the delay. We had some technical difficulties. If our staff doesn't mind going through the roll, great.
Adams. Present. Anane. Ballerin's absent. Brody.
Present.
Farrell. Here. Flynn is absent. Hoey.
Present.
Johnson.
Present.
Jones.
Present.
Keegan.
Here.
Lumpkin.
Present.
Powell.
Here.
Robinson.
Here.
Williamson.
Present.
And Zamer.
Here.
13 present. We're also joined by Council President Kelly Kimbrough, City Clerk Shaniqua Jackson, Assistant Corporation Counsel Martha Moskowitz, Research Counsel Robert Winter, Legislative Director Brian Menes, Junior Policy Analyst Alyssa Kamara, Junior Legislative Aide Carly Johnson.
Thank you so much. We have a couple of presentations this evening. I'm going to start with Frank Zioli from the Department of General Services to talk about the snow. We really appreciate him coming in. This is obviously a huge amount of snow, and the snow emergency is something that takes a lot of work from them, and it also takes a lot of cooperation with our constituents. So thank you very much, Mr. Zioli. Thanks for all the work that you've been doing clearing the snow, and for everybody at DGS.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. For some of the new faces that I most know everybody, but I'm Frank Zioli. I'm the Executive Deputy Commissioner at DGS. I'm also a fifth generation Albanian, so I'm very proud to be here. I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about the snow emergency. This has been a challenge. This snowstorm's been a challenge. We got 14 inches of snow. It fell pretty much, it was an all-day storm, and it lasted actually a day and a half. And so at the end of the day, we were left with 14 inches on the ground. Thanks to the men and women of the department, the very hardworking men and women of our department, we were able to get the streets cleaned, keep the primaries open, and the secondaries and the tertiary streets after that. So the storm itself was challenging. Our employees are working 12-hour shifts. They have been since Sunday morning. Okay, so, and it's a mandatory 12 hours, so everybody has to work. And again, they're doing a great job, and I can't commend them enough. So for the first time in 5 years, we've had to call a snow emergency. And like I've been saying a lot to a lot of people, post-COVID, the first post-COVID snow emergency. We all know the world has changed quite a bit since COVID, so it's trying to re-educate the residents and the public at large at what a snow emergency means. And so Mayor Pliers actually had a couple press conferences when we were getting ready for the snow emergency. And one of the things that she was the most adamant about is making sure that we explain to the public at large what our snow emergencies mean versus what snow emergencies in other municipalities mean. And I think we did a really good job explaining that our snow emergencies are post-snowstorm events. They are meant to clean and remove snow from city streets, curbs, parking lanes, and the like, okay? It is not meant, it's not for clearing the snow that's coming down in the road at the beginning of a storm or in the middle of a storm. As we like to say, that every storm has a beginning, end, and a middle, and the snow emergency is a part of the middle. So we started the snow emergency. We called it to start at 8 o'clock last night. By city code, we are required to do it 12 hours prior to the start. We gave over 24 in the hopes that we can educate the public to what their responsibilities are in a snow emergency, which is clear. Park your cars on the even side of the road in the first 24 hours and park your car on the odd side of the road for the second 24 hours. It didn't go so well. There's a lot. We towed more cars last night than we have towed in all the years, and I've been with the department 29 years, than I've ever seen. So the response to people moving their cars has not been great. We are about to go in a few hours into our second leg of the snow emergency, where everybody needs to move to the odd side of the street. We are asking everybody within the sound of my voice to please tell everybody they know, their friends, their family, even if it doesn't pertain to you because you have off-street parking, please move your cars to the odd side of the street so we can get in there and clean the even side. We cannot go through cars. The plows, where we use big heavy machinery to blow the snow into another truck that then gets hauled away. What then happens is you've got hauling companies that will haul the snow that don't want to come back because all they did was sit around all night because it took forever to get the stuff, the cars towed. So there's a lot of problems that happen with this. We are equal to the task. We will get the work done. We just need everybody's help to get the word out. So I'm asking every council member, please use your social media contacts, use whatever contacts you have for your neighbors and your constituents, and ask them, please, to follow the snow emergency and move their cars. Extremely, extremely important. And I thank you for your support on all this, and there might be some changes down the line that we want to make to the process. And of course, that will mean consulting the council, and we would be happy to do that. So,
Are there any questions that anyone has? Yes. Councilmember Brody.
Thank you. And thank you for coming here tonight. I know you guys have been literally around the clock. So from the 6th Ward, especially where I know the roads are very narrow and there's very dense housing, this has been a real challenge. So I know we've been in touch a lot over the last few days, which I appreciate the responsiveness of you and your team immensely. Just want to clarify that the emergency lots that have been opened, if you could talk a little bit more about the ones that have been opened in partnership with the county and also the ones that are city-owned and how people can find out exactly where they can put their cars and through when.
okay. So good question. So there has always been, and I apologize off the top of my head, I can't give you a number, a certain amount of lots that have been made available for every snow emergency that they're city-owned. We have in the past had help from OGS allowing us to use the lot on Madison Avenue, or not the lot, but the parking garage on Madison Avenue. And that is available this time around as well. But this year we had asked the county, the mayor's office had reached out to the county executive to see if, especially with what they're acquiring, again, wouldn't have been possible in the past, but them acquiring St. Rose, can we use some of the empty lots on the St. Rose campus? They made 2 of those lots available for the snow emergency. We are hoping that will become a permanent thing, which will help the Pine Hills, especially the Pine Hills, in finding alternate places to park. The other one that they suggested, which is in the south end, is the old McDonald's lot on Pearl and Madison, and that was also made available. Some might say it came a little too late because it was literally a few hours right before we went live with the snow emergency. If it continues to be a full-time thing, then yes, it will be in all of our advertising and all of our communications moving forward. All of that information can be found online on the website. Okay, if you just go to the city's website, the news, it's right on the front page. It talks about the snow emergencies on there, and it lists all the lots. But it's on year-round. It is on a page on the DGS side that talks about snow, and the list is there as well. So, and anybody can be parked there through the duration of the snow emergency, which is 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Thursday night. And I don't think we're going to be picking 8 p.m. And I don't think we're going to be kicking anybody out if they're there at 8:30. It's just, within reason.
And I would just add, the resource that's on the website there's a list that's sort of a, typed out list.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mayor's office was helpful in directing me to a Google map that
Yes.
you have also created.
Yes.
And if you zoom in,
Mm-hmm.
you guys have actually physically highlighted the streets, within Washington Park. I know that was of particular interest to my constituents. The verbal description is interesting, but I think the map was really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So if, just for people's notice, if you click on that link and zoom in, that was, I think, the most helpful. And I drove through Washington Park 3 times today, and it was very well utilized. So thank you again for making that resource available.
Yeah, and again, one of the things I want to point out, being that I've been here for a couple of years, Mayor Aplier's administration is taking a very close look at the communications coming out of the city administration. Exactly what we can do to make it easier for the communication to be more clear for city residents. And I applaud her for that. We had a meeting today, a Zoom meeting today where that she's made that clear. She wants to make sure that we are doing everything we can to make things as crystal clear for for residents. And I applaud that because it's necessary. I think that we're not looking at traditional ways of communicating anymore. TV and even social media isn't working like it used to. So how do we reach people? And so we've got some traditional ways that DGS has done it through the years with flyers and door hangers and things of that nature. Do we go back to that? So stay tuned. I think there's going to be more conversations as the mayor's administration continues of ways that we can educate people more on where to find that information and make it easier. So, but yes, it is on the city's website currently right now. I believe you go to the front page and there's a document or there's an alert there that if there's a snow emergency, and if you read it, there's places you can download the list and so on.
Thank you. Thank you. I would definitely like to give a big shout out to the Albany Police Department because I had several members in the West Hall Neighborhood Association and also residents of the community reach out to me and said that the Albany Police Department just didn't come and tow cars. They came on a loudspeaker, more than once. The third time, no response, that's when they begin to tow cars. So they did do due diligence to actually try to get the residents out the house to move their cars. So to hear that many cars was towed, like you say, we just have to get to the public and make sure that the residents, understand that there's protocol and the city is doing their best.
And we did try to. I was there at the beginning last night, probably until about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I was out, and we were on Dove, and yeah, I saw that. I saw the police doing it, going down. Even Commissioner Panunzio was even in the middle of the road and trying to get people and hitting the horn on his vehicle as well. So we try to do the best we can, but unfortunately, some people just weren't around or didn't hear it. So,
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes, I would like to say that I thought that this administration did well with the first major snowstorm that we had in a while. But one of the things that jumped out at me is the seniors. I think that we know the places that have senior citizens in it, and if we could be mindful of the plowing, because people can go out and clear their way multiple times throughout the storm, but seniors don't have that opportunity. And I'm just speaking about 99 and 101 South Pearl Street. I talked to the commissioner about it, and I think that we have a number of spots throughout the city, and I would hope that we can figure out how to manage that part because they don't have the same abilities as others, and if we can have mindfulness for them, everyone else that's calling about getting plowed in, they can work their way out of it. But the seniors, I think that we need to keep them in mind and not have them have that experience, because some of them don't have cars, and a lot of them are making small commutes each day to address their needs. So that would be something that would be refreshing, and I know they would appreciate it.
definitely, they've taken care of us, so we should be taking care of them. You're right. You're right. I agree.
Anyone else? Councilmember Brody.
One other quick question, especially on the comms piece. I realize there's a lot of things coming from different directions, so please let me know if this should be directed elsewhere. There was just an email that was sent out that quotes, given its large volume, the snow was temporarily staged at crosswalks to prevent taking up additional parking spots during the snow emergency, et cetera, et cetera. It was a highly walker-dependent, pedestrian-friendly neighborhood. This has created a serious frustration, as I'm sure you can imagine, with people who are using mobility aids, strollers, or just trying to walk through our neighborhood to get to their jobs and school and whatnot. Do you have a timeline as to when those particularly staged areas of snow will be removed out of the crosswalks?
Those crews have been out for the past 48 hours. So as that stuff, but there's a lot of crosswalks in the city of Albany, so you can't get to them all at one time. So as they've been moving the snow up, all that 14 inches, and it's going up and up and up, it's going in the corners. There's another crew that's coming right behind it, okay, within a little bit of time, and they're using smaller pieces of equipment, Toros, multi-hogs. These are all pieces of equipment that from everybody's budget hearings, they've heard them through the years as we've talked about them, that are easier to scoop, put into a truck, or move it out, open up the crosswalks, get them down to the pads, we call the blind pads, getting it down to there so that people can use it. And we're doing our best to get there as we can. So in a lot of places, it's been complete. In some places, it's taking longer. Just me coming from DGS just a few minutes ago, I noticed that and I counted them just because I'm funny that way, there were 30 cars coming down in the way as our loaders were trying to remove that snow, and people were just practically running them over to get out of town, to get home. So they had to stop what they were doing and wait until the traffic got through to be able to empty it. So we are working, matter of fact, like I said, right on Pearl Street, they're doing that right now. So it's happening throughout the city. It's just, I can't speak exactly every spot right now, but we're hoping by the time the emergency's over, right, that majority of them will be done, as long as we have a lot of cooperation. The quicker we can get through.
What is the best, what is the way you prefer for people using the sidewalks, or anybody who would want to? What is that?
That's the guy living in the basement asking for the heat to
like-
be sent down.
Okay.
Send the heat up.
Sorry. What would you recommend we do for particular sidewalks to get notice to you guys? How do you want us to communicate with you about where those still need clearing?
For the crosswalks?
Yeah.
We know where they are, and we're going to get to them. Give us a couple more days, but if people want to tell us, pretty much we probably already know, but if they want to tell us, they can do it through C-Click-Fix, or they can do it by calling 434 City.
Okay.
Okay, and let us know. But we're basically, we know, okay, that's on the list. We know we're going to do it, and we're in that area. We're going to
So
hit
you
it.
have a list of them.
It's within routes. I mean, we know where crosswalks are. We know where intersections are. So
Okay.
we're hitting them all. But if somebody wants to let us know about one to make sure that we saw it, then absolutely, they can do it through those two means.
Okay.
As well as sidewalks that aren't clean
Right.
by the residents or the homeowners that are responsible for doing it by city code. We're out there doing those as well, right? And issuing bills and fines for anybody who hasn't cleaned in front of their property. But if somebody sees one that wasn't done, we're going through the city, and that's a little bit more complaint based too. So we will get there so you do, but that can be done through C-Click-Fix or by calling 434 City.
Thank you.
Okay.
Councilmember Robinson?
Yeah, just a follow-up question, and you just hit it because we know that, through city code, 24 hours after a major snowstorm, residents is required to shovel their sidewalks and also fire hydrants if it's in front of your property. My concern is, and again, I commend the current administration for reaching out to the county and dealing with the shared services as far as the parking, but the Albany County Land Bank owns 85% of the real estate in my community. And during snowstorms, 24 hours of the snowstorms, a lot of these properties is not shoveled. The city Love Your Block program, they have a shovel brigade. And they come and they have a targeted block within my district. And, like they stated to me, Councilman Robinson, County Legislator Robinson, when we go to shovel a senior's house and there's a land bank property right next to the senior's house, we have to do that because if there's an emergency, they have to come out their house, they have to find, but my conversation with the county was, the properties that the city is shoveling, that's county, it should be made whole to the city. Or the cities, if we dealing with shared services at this point, it should be county employees out here making sure that property that belongs to this county is shoveled 24 hours after snowstorm also. Because it's not right that we come out and we find a taxpayer resident and there the county gets a pass. And I think that's something that should be really, really, really looked into, moving into the next snowstorm. I think, seeing that we have this partnership with the county that we never had in the past, these conversations should be had. This should be at the front because, you know, as my colleague, Councilman Johnson said, our seniors is at the front of our scope. That's where our vision is at. We want to make it safe for them to get to the market. God forbid that is emergency, but 85% of real estate in lower communities is owned by the Albany County land bank in Albany County. So we do need to, just like we address our residents that pay taxes to follow the rules, we have to make sure that the county is doing something to make sure that our streets is safe and our sidewalks are safe as well. Because just like you're gonna come out and you're gonna shovel somebody who haven't did it and there's a land bank property right next to it, you're gonna skip that. Or are you gonna shovel it? Or are you gonna find the land bank the same way that you would find a taxpayer? We need to figure that out.
We actually do. All right, so this is what we will do. If the land bank, we will clean it, regardless, we clean it, okay? Whether or not we will bill it, whether or not we get paid for it is another story altogether, but we do bill it. Now, for anything that is illegal trash, not so much illegal trash at the curb, but if it's an empty lot or a house that's owned by the land bank and the backyards or the side yards are a mess, and we have to post that. The minute our office looks up that it's a land bank property, we contact them directly. We have a contact and we'll say to them, this property has been posted because it needs to be cleaned. Now, that is going away. The posting is going away. Pretty soon, we're going to be doing one notice only, but either way, we're gonna know that it needed to be posted, and we're going to start. We call them and we're going to say to them, do it, or else we're going to do it. And usually, when it comes to that, they will send some people out. But I will tell you, the sidewalks or illegal trash at the curb is not the case. We pick it up and then we will bill it, and then but I don't think we're getting paid for it. I really don't. So what you're saying makes all the sense in the world. We need to hold them accountable. You know, just like there's a lot of state property that we clean that really DOT should be cleaning, and we clean it. And I will tell you that Mayor Pliers is looking at that very carefully. She's asked for a report, which we are going to be providing to her by the end of this week. That gives her all the locations in the city that we clean that technically should be cleaned by DOT. But we don't want entry, and a lot of them are entryways into the city. Places like down near Ezra Apprentice, the homes down there, all of that area where the bus stop is and all of that is state property, okay? The on-ramps are all state property. All those underpasses are state property. But DGS cleans them. We clean them on I think a 10-day rotation, and we're emptying trash even more than that, and we don't get any reimbursement for that. So it is something that the mayor is looking at and making sure. So this comes at the perfect time, Councilman, and I think we should look at that. I agree.
Councilmember Hoey.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank, and thank you for your department, for all the workers, all the work they're doing. A couple of things that's come up over the years is bus stops getting cleaned, and there was always an argument, is it CDTA does it or is it the city? So hopefully we'll look at that. And the other thing
I
is—
can actually answer a little bit about that, but finish.
Sure. And the other thing is the crosswalks, especially by the schools, that should be the #1 priority for the kids, because schools are back open, you know, and I know a few years ago or some number of years ago, a kid was hit and because they crossed over a snowbank. Yeah. So we don't want to see anything like that. Thank you.
Crosswalks near schools are a priority. They are on a priority list, but we need to get the school district to do the sidewalks a little quicker, right? I had to contact the school because Montessori up in your ward did not clean the sidewalks. And somebody contacted me, a resident of the city, and said, well, they say it's the city's responsibility. And I said, well, no, it would be, if it was, it would be done by now. So I then contacted the maintenance staff and said, and it got done. I was told it got done. So sometimes they just have to hear from us. CDTA, we recently signed an MOU with CDTA about the bus shelters, not stops, but shelters, for us to collect the trash instead of CDTA doing it. They do it on a different schedule as we do. They don't necessarily do it right. They've got different garbage cans. They don't put the lids back on. There's a lot of issues. Mayor Sheehan had asked me to look into this and have a conversation with CDTA about what we could do, them paying us to pick up the trash. well, they laughed me out of the room for them paying us, but we did make an agreement with them to give us in kind for doing that. So we're emptying their trash cans, and that will be starting very soon. And that is what Mayor Pliers mentioned in her State of the City, that there's money there that will help with busing to the seniors to West Hill that she mentioned last night. So that'll be helpful with that. But part of the MOU that we have with them now is to work closely with them on the cleaning and the snow removal at their bus shelters. And it's really more, they're still going to do the work, right? But we're going to oversee some stuff. And if they have a problem, it allows us to do stuff and help them out. And so I'm hoping that's going to get better. Even Councilwoman had a problem with that. Keegan had a problem with that today. And I contacted them and said, can you figure out what we're going to do to remove the snow here? And if you need help, let us know and we'll get to it. But so there's going to be more conversation back and forth so that we don't want the resident, just like with the state properties, we don't want the residents of the city to make it look like, oh, that's state. It's our city. We want to make sure that's done. So.
Thank you very much. And I would just note, I know in my ward, I have some seniors that are at corners that they usually are able to clear that crosswalk area, that it's not an issue, but with the heavy snow,
Yes.
they have somebody go through and they're just not back. So
It's great if they can do it. We love the help, but it is on our list.
okay.
Okay. At one time, those crosswalks were something that we would say, again, I've been here a long time, that we would say it's the responsibility of that corner property to open up the crosswalk. With the way the plowing is, and it's not the snow that fell in that area that they're cleaning, it is the snow that we're pushing up the street and putting there, they can't do it. That's where this new equipment that's been purchased, and anybody who's been on the finance committee over the years, you've seen this equipment we've purchased. So it is on our list to do when we get to it, but we'll get to it as quickly as we can, and we will remove it. But if they can help, please.
Excellent. Yeah, I will say there's one that's like almost as tall as I am, and
We will get to it.
much heavier. So
We'll get to it.
thank you very much. And I just will note as you are leaving, Mr. Zioli, to continue on our way. Thank
We've
you.
got a busy night tonight.
Just to also note that their normal parking rules are suspended for offside parking and meters until Friday. So you will not get a ticket if you're parking. In other words, you should follow the snow emergency for the side of the road to park on. However, you will still get a ticket if you are parked in a handicap parking spot, if you are blocking a crosswalk, if you're blocking a fire hydrant, any of the normal parking rule things, you still, even if you still can't park in a handicap parking spot or block crosswalks or things like that. So there is still ticketing done if you're violating the larger parking rules that we have. But the street parking and the meter parking is waived. Meter parking will be back on Friday. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And now we have our esteemed treasurer to talk to us about the IDA.
Thank you. I realized when I came before freshman class, fresh people class of the council a couple weeks ago, I forgot to talk about one aspect of my position that is an integral part of my role, and that is on economic development. I sit on the bids, or I appoint to the bids, but I also am an appointee of this body to the IDA, along with 6 other people. The IDA and the CRC. And the IDA, for those who don't know, I'll just do a little brief thing here. They are the ones who provide tax abatements for projects, a lot of the residential projects that we have here, a few strictly commercial projects, but it's been mostly residential projects, like we've been talking about with inclusionary zoning. The other arm of the economic development is the CRC, the Capital Resource Corporation, and that is designed to assist nonprofits. It can assist in different ways, but the way that it's being used right now almost exclusively is to float bond issuances for nonprofit entities. So we've done it for some charter schools, we've done it for Albany Med, we've done it for Albany Pharmacy, and that's essentially the role. So we sit on those boards and we work Capitalize Albany. Ashley Moll, they are the staff for those. They're the staff for the IDA and the CRC. And I'm coming to you tonight because we have a potential for conflict that's coming up that we're trying to avert, but I'm not sure we're going to be successful. And it has to do with the CRC and Albany County. So it's essentially been county policy for the last 35 to 40 years that projects that are within local municipalities go to the local IDA or CRC if they have one. If they do not have one, or the projects cross municipal boundaries, the county IDA and or CRC can do those projects. What's at issue essentially is both control over those projects and how they're done and what kind of tax abatements are provided or what kind of terms of the agreements there are. But it also goes to fees that are generated by those projects that go to economic development, essentially. So, you know, for example, Plug Power in Bethlehem, even though that's not the best example here, but a Plug Power project in Bethlehem would generate fees that go to economic development in Bethlehem. Here, economic development fees would come to the IDA CRC through Capitalize Albany, and that's used for economic development here. We have a burgeoning issue with the CRC for Albany County, which was, it was essentially created on the fly a few years ago because they wanted to do the project at Zen up at SUNY Albany, the Zen project. And they eventually did that project, but it caused conflict back then when it was first created. And we're having a conflict right now. We're having discussions, it's not full conflict yet, but in front of you is a letter that the mayor and representatives of the IDAs, plural, across the region, and towns across the region wrote to the IDA for the county and to the staff for the IDA, essentially making sure that we're asserting and reasserting our interest in making sure that local projects go to local IDAs and CRCs. Well, what's happened is the county is now trying to float a bond issuance for Avila, for the Teresian House, who, to refresh everybody's memory, was provided a tax break by the previous administration that turned out to be illegal. And they lost that tax break about 3 years ago. So the property is back in the tax rolls. I can say here that it has not paid those taxes and currently owns at least $2.5 million in outstanding taxes to both the city and the county. But they're floating that bond issuance for about $22 million, and they went to the county CRC rather than the city CRC. So what that is essentially doing is bringing up all these issues again. So I'm in discussions and communications with the other municipalities and IDAs to oppose this. There's a public hearing on Monday that I intend to go to along with the chair of the city IDA, Elizabeth Staubach, who you appointed a few years back. And other municipalities and other IDAs are also aware of this and will likely be opposing this as well. So I've come to report to you on this because we may need your assistance in the form of support for the IDA, but also to inform you as a member of the body that you appoint that this is what's going on. I don't think I have any particular ask or point of action for you at this point, but when I realized we had a caucus meeting today, I thought I would come in and talk. I will also say that I harken back to what I talked about on the county IDA working on projects across municipal boundaries. One of those projects is current right now, and that's the Tobin First Prize project between Colony and Albany in place of the old factory that was there. In the past, there have been, when you have that situation, you have fee sharing between the entities, between the county, one municipality and the other municipality. It's our understanding that the county is refusing to do that fee share and fee split with Colony and the city at this point. That will be also up for further discussion. Again, I just want to bring that to your attention because there may be news about this and there may be, sparks flying between the county and the city, which is, I think, very unfortunate. And it's not something that I think our constituents really like to see. And I'm hoping that this can be resolved before that, but you never know. I also do, on a different note, want to point out that when people get parking tickets and they come to you about the parking tickets, just tell them to flip the ticket over to the back. There's an email there. They can write an email in, contest the ticket. So, and there's probably a lot of contested tickets over these last couple of days. But just, they can send them to us and we take a look at them, we're going through them, and we are dealing with them appropriately. So with that, I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Any questions? Councilmember Keegan?
You said that the board meeting is next Monday. Can you
The
just,
public hearing,
the public hearing, at what time?
I think it's either 5:30 or I saw it was noon. I'll let you know.
Because we'll be in chambers or heading to chambers. So, you know, are we, like, for Common Council, are we
Yeah.
able to submit comment in advance?
Yes, you can submit comments, yeah. Don't have that information on me right now, but I can send an email out to everybody.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
Councilmember Howell?
Yes, Avila is in my district, so I know that, it was in the news about their back taxes. How long has the county been in a relationship with them? Like, how long has this been going on? Or when did we find out about it?
So we found out about it a couple of weeks ago, when essentially the public notice, there's a resolution put up for public notice to pass the resolution to have the public hearing that is scheduled for the February 2nd. I will say that they did come to the IDA, to the city IDA, about a pilot in replacement of essentially the pilot they lost, but it really didn't meet the criteria because generally speaking, when we do a pilot, it's for economic development. So someone comes in with a piece of property that has nothing there, and then they build a new, warehouse, apartment building, whatever, adds value. That's where you get your tax abatement from. If you're not really doing anything different with the property, you're not really entitled to a tax abatement through that process. And as far as I know, there is no application before the county IDA for Avila to have a pilot through them. What they have applied for are basically a request to borrow $22 million and have the county float the bond issue to do that.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in, Darius. And if you don't mind sharing that information out, we can respond accordingly. Before we go through, did you have a question? Go ahead and ask. Yeah. Councilmember Brody, if it's not okay, then we will say it's not okay.
You can tell
And
me.
we'll
Yes,
move
I'm
on.
sure you will let me know. Thank you. And sorry for stepping out there. One question that I got quite a few constituents asking about today is, and if this is not for you and should be directed to somebody else, please let me know. There was a notice put out by the mayor's office yesterday that tickets would not be issued between roughly 9 p.m. and midnight last night. And I got a lot of very interesting feedback from the neighborhood, especially folks who had been ticketed already, or some even at like 8:55 p.m., asking if there's any sort of protocol about recourse for this.
Yeah, I would urge them to send that appeal to the parking ticket appeal.
Okay.
And we'll address it that way.
Okay, that's
So
great.
we're looking at other ways to deal with that have made things difficult.
Understood. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was definitely some interesting messaging, so I appreciate giving residents, or at least car owners, an opportunity to figure this out going forward. Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
just as I said, just flip the ticket over, send an email.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like that was relevant to the snow conversation, which, kind of all works.
On a brighter note, we had our first school bus camera ticket hearings today. Never mind.
Some other reason for the residents of Albany, well, and outside of Albany to love you.
Most beloved man in
Yes.
capital region.
So just quickly, some exciting news. We're promoting Carly to the junior policy analyst position. We are very, very sad to see Alyssa go, but we're so excited for her moving forward. So we'll be posting Carly's position and be hiring for that position. So, and then also and I like to qualify this just based on our December thing. It's hard to predict when we're going to get out, but if we are able to complete our meeting at a reasonable time on the 2nd and people are interested, we can maybe take a list out for a few drinks to say thank you. But it's, as we know, it's hard to predict exactly. We could have a bunch of people coming in and wanting to do public comment, which might make it hard to grab drinks afterwards on a Monday, but hopefully we'll be able to do that. Also, actually, since speaking of Alyssa, we have our Black History Month celebration coming up. Do you want to do a quick update on that?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you to everyone. I think that we might finally have everybody's candidate, which is very exciting. So just as a reminder, our event is going to be February 6th at 6 p.m. here in City Hall. I'd ask you to come about 15 minutes early, just so that way I can discuss with you the sort of run of show. Otherwise, I think that that's basically everything. I'll be sending out update emails as the event comes closer, just to ensure that everybody is on the same page.
Thank you so much, and thank you for everything, but right now, thank you for all the work on that. When we did our leadership meeting, the mayor's office said that they were having somebody from the mayor's office directly reaching out to council members and having like a direct contact about the snow. If that did not happen for you for whatever reason, if you let me know, I can circle back with them and make sure that that's happening. Definitely very much appreciate Mayor Pliers wanting to make sure that council members have the support that we need, because a lot of times we'll get direct information from a resident on a small block that's not even close to being plowed yet, things like that. And being able to flag some of those things directly with them is an all-around good thing. Another quick thing before we go through our agenda, and I also want to flag, we're going to do an executive session when we're done talking about the agenda for an update on some of the things with the CPRB, some of the executive session things with the CPRB. So that will happen after. I will be breezing through things quickly, so don't worry. We're starting to go through our confirmation process of commissioners. As you'll notice, that legislation is introduced, it's then assigned to the committee. That committee is then going to really be spending a lot of time asking whichever commissioner is going before them questions and things like that. Every council member can go to every committee meeting. You're not going to be voting at that point, but obviously the most important vote is on the floor. So I definitely encourage everyone to make note of when those committee meetings are, and if you're able to, or if you have a special interest in that area, make sure that you're going to those meetings. So on February 11th, I think, we're doing the council operations where we'll be talking with Miriam Dixon. We also, because we have some people that worked for the city and they're coming back, we've asked for their personnel files. What we're going to do is we'll have those here. If anything that's like easily foilable, I want to make sure that we're careful of personnel records, even if there's not anything most of them are just, they got this form. They're not very exciting, but it's still really important to be sensitive to people's personnel records. So they'll be here, paper version for us to look through. If anybody wants to see anything ahead of time, if you're very curious, then I think we can connect with staff and figure out something with that. We also asked for background checks. The Pliers administration has decided to waive background checks for people that they're hiring. We defer to them on that. It is something that we've learned is an important thing to do, but obviously this is Mayor Pliers' administration, and if that is her choice, that is her choice. But if they go in a different direction and decide to do background checks, then we'll make sure that council members are able to see those too. In a similar way, we want to make sure that we're sensitive to people's personal information. It's meant to inform our process, not to make anything uncomfortable for anybody going through this process. I think those are the main things. Does anybody have any quick questions before I get into the agenda? All right, let's go through the agenda. We will have approval from previous meetings. We'll have the minutes from January 22nd. Local laws introduced from Councilmember Hoey, local law amending Article 3, Senior Citizens Tax Exemption. That will go to Finance. Councilmember Hoey, does anybody want to say anything on this?
Yeah, there was, thank you. There has been problems in the past where senior citizens forget to file each year that they have, they're eligible for exemptions for taxes. And by the time they find out, Trey Kingston, our assessor, he can't do anything till the next year. So he had reached out to me about legislation where after 5 years, I'm sorry, this is the levels. We are going to increase, because of inflation, the maximum amount of money that you can make to get the exemption. So that's what this one's going to be about. But there is going to be legislation in the future about that after 5 years, once you've applied for 5 years, you won't have to apply anymore. And I'm sorry, I got confused on which one we were talking about. But this one's mostly about inflation, that, it helps people out as costs go up, get some of that exemption. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hoey. That's going to go to Finance. Next, we have from Councilmember Keegan, a local law amending annual salaries section. This is to add the majority whip position in the salaries. That will go to Finance. Councilmember Keegan, do you want to?
I just want to note that we're going to have to, just as we're asking from the administration, we're going to have to note where it's kind of de minimis for us. It's only 3K, but we don't note in here where the 3K is coming from for the salary change. So I'll probably be working with our staff to identify how we're going to do that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, and I appreciate the consistency. In local laws held, we will be, should it pass through committee on Thursday, we'll be moving Councilmember Zamer's local law for the senior citizens tax exemption. They will also be looking at the, well, I can get to it. Councilmember Keegan.
I just wanted to note one thing about that legislation, because I got questions about the impact of STAR onto the city. And since we have new members that haven't gone through this before, STAR is very specific to the school district and how school taxes are levied. The school district is made whole by the state. So, it's not going to impact revenue for the city, but we are the authorizing legislative body that has to make this work for the purposes of the assessor's office, having the authorization to process through all of that STAR exemption information. And then sort of secondly, in relation to this, when we set the levy for the fiscal year, the levy is the levy. So the apportionment within the levy may change based on varying circumstances, but the city will still, so if the levy is 60 million, the levy is 60 million. It doesn't go up or down depending on the change in legislation like this. So I just wanted to note that for the record for the newer folks that haven't been through this before, so they have a little bit of better understanding about how all that works.
Thank you very much.
Judy?
Councilmember Hoey.
Yeah, thank you. I'm looking at the local law B and local law A, and the wording is exact. So now I'm kind of confused. I'm wondering, was local law B going to be the one with the 5 years? But I'm not sure. And we could talk about it after. I just wanted to bring it up that there seems to be,
We will clarify that and make sure that we are moving forward with the correct legislation. In ordinances introduced, we have from Councilmember Anane, Ordinance 12126, which is an ordinance amending the Parks and Recreation and Streets and Sidewalks Code of the City of Albany in relation to comprehensively prohibiting smoking products and limiting their proximity to at-risk populations. That will be assigned to the Law Committee. From Councilmember Williamson, Ordinance 22126, an ordinance authorizing and directing the grant of a permanent easement over a portion of city-owned property at 5 Mill Road to Niagara Mohawk. That will go to Finance. We have no ordinances held right now, so that's kind of fun. Resolutions introduced from Councilmember Anane. Resolution 82126R, that's a resolution of the Common Council honoring Black History Month and the contributions of the African Americans and directing the mayor to raise the Pan-African flag on City Hall annually in solidarity. Just to show of hands, who would like to co-sponsor this? This is usually everyone co-sponsors. Okay, so that, I think that will be a voice vote. Mr. President. Next from me, Resolution 92126 are a resolution of the Common Council celebrating the Lunar New Year and recognizing its cultural and historical significance. Again, people interested in co-sponsoring. That does not look like a play. Oh, okay. Yes, it is. All right. So that is another voice vote. Next from me, Resolution 102126R, a resolution of the Common Council appointing Deirdre Brody as board member to the Lark Street bid. And it's funny because Miss Brody reached out and said, "Thanks so much for carrying that." And I was like, I had gone through it. I'm like, oh, right, that's why I'm carrying it, because she can't carry herself going on the Lark Street bid. But thank you so much for serving on it. And as council member, and so that will be moving, that we'll be voting on that bill. And then from Councilmember Johnson, Resolution 112126R, a resolution of the Common Council commending Assemblymember Gabriela Romero for her advocacy throughout her first year within the state legislature. And so we will be voting on that as well. Did you want to say anything, Councilmember Johnson?
No, I can, I'll speak on it on Monday.
Excellent. And then, in resolutions held, we might have, there are two resolutions that will be potentially discussed at the Finance Committee meeting that are not noted on the active calendar, that I just want to flag that depending on what happens, we may be moving them. That's Resolution 41226R, which is the authorizing a transfer of budgeted funds with the salary rate. Resolution 51226R, again, that's the salary rate one. And then I'll just note there's another one, the Resolution 71226R with the auditor as well. So if those are able to move through the council, through the Finance Committee meeting on Thursday, we will be taking those up barring any issue at our next council meeting. If not, then the following one. Councilmember Keegan?
Yeah, my understanding is that we're going to be dealing with all four pieces of legislation. The auditor's office will be coming in. The mayor's office will be sending representatives. I did ask, given that a number of those bills came in without showing how they're going to actually impact the budget and without the appropriate removal of certain portions of the budget in order to fiscally balance what has been proposed by those bills. I did have conversations asking that that information be provided prior to tomorrow's meeting. So hopefully we will have that by tomorrow evening.
Excellent, thank you. Councilmember Brody?
And also of note, at about 5 o'clock last night, the 2026 approved budget was posted to the city website and made publicly available for the first time. So we now have that.
Thank you very much. And also in resolutions held that we will be voting on is Councilmember Flynn's Resolution 61226R. If it moves out of committee that day, which will, it's a street renaming for the Larson, the extended Larson family. We will be going into an executive session. Just a quick note, and I wanted to mention this at Caucus. If you have a committee meeting, and we love it when you go through things ahead of time, if you happen to have any questions on that, you can share that with the appropriate staff, and they can share it with the actual people that will be coming in. We will not be getting answers to those questions. It is important to ask questions in an open meeting. So getting answers is great, but so is asking the questions in an open meeting and actually getting that information in the open meeting so that people are aware of it. But if you know that you're going to ask a question, it is nice to be able to share that information with the people that are coming in front of you so they're able to answer it. So that actually can be discussed in the open meeting, which just gives us an extra layer of transparency. So if I can get a motion to, does anybody have anything else? Because I figure after we go into executive session, we can then officially adjourn. But so if anybody has any other questions or anything like that, we should ask them now. Councilmember Brody?
Sorry, I know I'm taking a lot of time. And this might not be a question that we can answer right now, but I'd be curious to know if there are any other positions that are currently filled or that are looking to be filled that are exempt from background checks. I don't know that we would know the answer to that right now. But
Do you mean commissioners or the?
It's.
I don't know the actual process and protocol. Like that's something I would say you should talk directly to HR about because HR does all of that. So
Okay.
I don't know their process. I'm assuming it depends on where the person works, that kind of thing.
Privy to.
I do know that we do ask for a background check for any board or commission member that we are moving forward with and have had some hiccups in getting, like just in communication with that. So that's why I am aware of it and wanted to note it because it's been in the newspaper, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll defer to HR. Thank you.
So with that, could I get a motion to move into executive session?
Motion to move into executive session, discuss personnel issue with one of our committees.
Yes, and a second.
I'll second.
Just for open meetings law compliance, I think that's going to have to be employment history of a particular person and matters leading to their appointment to a certain position.
Thank you very much. So we can, if the public and our public, thank you so much for coming. And our member of public will be leaving. We appreciate you coming.
Second?